Hi, welcome to Cadden tutorials. This session is going to focus on invoice viewing as a board member for your association. All board members will have access to view invoices for vendors within your community. Some of our associations also have a security level that will allow board members to view and approve invoices before the vendor is paid. Now, to navigate to the invoice section of Cadden Connect, on the left-hand side, you're going to scroll down to the Board Actions area and click on Invoices. Now, if your community is set up with that board invoice approver setting, those board members designated as such will have My Items listed here. This will show any invoices that are pending review and approval as a board member. You can also view any open and pending invoices with the management team. And you can view closed invoices, meaning any invoices that have been paid or voided out for any vendors for your community. Now, let's focus on the My Items. As an invoice approver, I'm going to see what the management team has done in coding invoices for approval. And then I can decide if they can be approved or declined at this point, or send a message back to the team for clarification. Now let's take a look at our first example here. This item doesn't show that it has an attachment here, so I'm missing the invoice to be able to verify what this actual payment is going for. So if that was the case, I wouldn't feel comfortable paying that as a board member. So I may go ahead and click on the three dots here to see what actions I have available and click Send a Message. I can send a message to my manager and say, please attach the invoice, and allow them to be able to attach that invoice and resubmit. Or if I know that this payment is not going to be approved, I can go ahead and click the the actions, and then decline this invoice from this stage. From here, we're going to designate maybe why we're declining. This is let's say it's a duplicate invoice. And then we can hit submit. That will be declined, and a message will go to the management team to say why it was declined. Now, our last example is going to be an invoice that should ultimately be approved. I can see what vendor it's going to be paid to. I can see the amount of the invoice. I can also view the invoice itself by clicking the attachment. I can see that this is going to be for irrigation repairs for $125. I can also view additional information for this invoice by clicking the View option. I can now see additional information like where I'm going to charge this to on my budget. What GL are we using? I'm using irrigation repairs, which matches the invoice that we viewed. We can also see that attachment again by using the paperclip icon up here. We can also view recent invoices for the same vendor to see what other invoices have been paid. We can also see the messages to see if there's been any activity between the management team and the bookkeeper, or maybe from board members asking questions on that same invoice. Ultimately, if I feel comfortable with approving the invoice, I can do so here by clicking Approve. You can add something in here to say approved and maybe put your initials if you wish, or you can just simply hit Submit. Now that will go to the finance team to ultimately approve that invoice so the vendor will receive payment. Now, if I go back to the invoices by clicking the top left icon here, I can now see what open invoices are pending, and I can see closed invoices again for what has been paid or voided out. We can see this familiar grid setting that we have here with all these different columns that are available to us. We can use those three dots to choose other columns as well, or remove columns that aren't useful for us. And then we can also save our grid settings once we have it set to our liking. This also can be exported to Excel so that you can have that data in another format. Thank you so much.